What's up, guys? Ricardo Ammendolia here for another edition of the Ricardo Balea BJJ podcast. This is episode 19. And before we get started, I kindly ask that you click on the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share it with your friends. I got a really interesting guest today. And please, guys, thank you all. I thank you for all the support, watching my videos and all the comments. Let me know in the comment section who you want to see on the next edition. But let's get right to it. My guest today is a guy he's originally from Brazil, and now he teaches in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He's the first Canadian guest I've had on. And his name is Jorge Britto. And George, I've known you for quite some time. Thank you so much for being on the show, first and foremost.
Yeah, thank you, Ricardo. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, talk to you and to your audience. I know you've been doing a great job, like pioneering in Canada on on pointed out what's right, what's wrong, in terms of who is doing what, and it's great to see you sad, and it's an honor to me to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Sometimes when I point out the right and wrong, I take a little bit of shit on my comments and I get some heat from some of the guys, but it is what it is. Somebody's got to give them some tough love. But, I have I'm starting to grow a little bit of an international audience here, guys. So, George has one of the biggest schools in Canada. He runs a tournament series called Next Gen, his academy that he teaches at is Toronto BJJ. He has a successful team that I believe now has affiliates all over called Jiu Jitsu For Life, and he's doing an amazing job here in Canada. And I think, first and foremost, George, I met you back in 2008. Yeah, and we were at a tournament together. I remember the guys telling me, "Oh, there's this guy Jorge Britto coming to teach at Toronto BJJ," because they were switching an instructor at the time. And I was like, I don't really know the guy, but we met, we kind of hit it off, and you started to run tournaments here. I was always supporting. And my first question to you is, man, of all the places, all the Brazilians go to Southern California or Miami, Florida. How did you end up in Toronto, Ontario? Did you come here with the idea that this was kind of virgin territory for you? That you foresee jiu-jitsu being so big, or did you just get on the wrong plane? Now, tell me how did this all plan out?
So yeah, I'm gonna try to make the story short because it's kind of long. I've been when I started to train jiu-jitsu, I started in a very small academy, and then I was a Carson Gracie black belt, so I fell in love with jiu-jitsu right away. Started to compete in less than 3 months training. I got my blue belt, and then I was supposed to be a green belt maybe because I was 15, and then I kept training, and then somehow in 2 years and a half, this teacher moved to another state in Brazil, and then I was kind of left over, and he was Carson Gracie. I even had competed a national for Carson team.
Okay.
But I didn't have resources, money to go from my neighborhood to I lived Tijuca and the Carson Gracie Academy in Copacabana, or there was no affiliate of Carson in Tijuca at that time. And I had made friends from guys from Gracie Tijuca, the main branch of Gracie Maitá in my neighborhood. So then I ended up there. And then I was right away always hustling to try to pay my membership, to pay my tournaments. And then I work in the first World Championships, and I remember some speech of Carlos Gracie Jr. talking to the staff, kind of motivating everybody, we're carrying the canvas mats and things like that. And it's guys, one day this is going to be huge, and you guys are going to be part of this history. And I got really impressed with that, and then I go back in the other year, and then we have at Gracie Tijuca Academy, we have the main training for Worlds, for the main training camp for Worlds for Gracie Maitá, where everybody, all the gringos come to train, and all the guys. So at that time, I had I would say a quote unquote that's a sponsorship of a laundry. My mom used to work in this laundry, and then that was from the army. And then one of the guys who was the commander there, he take care of the laundry. he would do judo, and he saw my mom wash my gis there. And one day I was there helping my mom, and then he told like, look, if you want to like wash your gis here, you can wash. You just need to buy your soap, and whatever you make in a weekend is yours. And then if you make money. So I was always washing gis in the academy, but like in Brazil, people don't usually do laundry with their gis. So I was washing like a Hoyler's gi, Saulo's gi, Vini gi, like the main instructors, and some of guys, they're like big lawyers and things like that. It's like not a lot of money, but it was a little exchange. But when it comes to worlds, all the gringos came in. So you guys like to wash their gis every day. Like for like just for information, guys who don't know, in Brazil, some guys back then, I think I still have that. People just dry their gis, like no one wash it. So that's pretty bad. But then people want to wash every day. So I remember to make lots of money for me, you know, that the rate of Brazil real to call dollar was like 1 to 3. So, and then that was the biggest period for me. And I wasn't even allowed to make the training camp because I didn't have won the Rio State Championships or the Nationals, because that's how you compete in the Worlds. I was just set to compete the trials that used to be 1 week before for World Championships. This 1997, 1998. And then I was like sitting down there distributing the gis. I remember to have a bicycle and I go like several trips to the laundry back and forth to have all the gis ready for everybody when they come in. And then Wellington Megaton, you know, Mackenzie Darren father, he was there with his students, and then he sat beside me. He's like, wow, kid, you really like to work. You work hard. And I'm like, yeah, I love it. And he's like, you like jiu-jitsu? I'm like, I love jiu-jitsu. I love it so much. I want to do jiu-jitsu for the rest of my life. It's like, so listen what I'm going to tell you. The future is aboard. Like, learn how to speak English and learn how to teach, because compete, you can compete until your 50s. And you know what? He's one of the longest competitors ever. You know, he's still living by his word, and I think that's amazing. He said, like, you can compete, you can do everything, like, your whole life, you know, like, and then doesn't mean you being a world champion, you're going to make a life out of this. But if you have a good school, you're going to be able to live doing what you love most. And then, you know, like, that conversation extends a little bit, but I got home, like, after that World Championships. It was an amazing one, by the way. 1998 was an amazing year. I wasn't able to compete. I lost in the trials, but it was amazing. I worked all the days of the tournament. It was, like, really cool. I got home, like, really in love with jiu-jitsu. I looked at my mom, and that was exactly the period that we finished, what I say, high school to college or to university, and then high school. And then I just told my mom, I'm not coming back to school. I'm going to be jiu-jitsu full-time, and I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to live in California. That was my dream.
Of course.
And she got crazy. You know, imagine a 17 years old kid telling this, like, she got like nuts. No. And I fought against this, and I kept like moving, like, no school for like few years until I got an opportunity to go to university. But that's another talk. I don't want to extend this. And then I decided, but like, I tried several visas to the United States, and I got denied 4 times. Because I have my friends coming, you know, like this when I was brown belt, maybe 2000, 2001, 2003. So then when the world finally came to States in 2007, so I remember to go to the consulate, and I just carry like a bag of medals, and I went like wearing shorts, and because all the other ones I kind of dress up, bring a lot of paperwork, and try to give all the things, and this time I just brought a bag of medals, and then right at the door they want to stop me because that's medal, right? But then I explained that this is what I'm going to use for interview, so they gave me 25 days kind of visa. And they brought me up back in 2007. Orkut was a social media. Do you remember Orkut?
Orkut, yeah. Orkut, yeah. That was Orkut and MySpace. They were the 2 biggest ones.
Yeah, exactly. But in Brazil, it was like the Orkut was like the thing.
It was the big one.
They came back like after the interview, like, we're going to give you 25 days. A lot of people go and don't come back. We're going to be monitoring you. So I don't know, man, and they give like with my passports, all the pages of Orkut, like printed. And I got like so scared. So then I spent 25 days, like exactly the times that I could. But I fell in love because I was in San Diego. So I remember it was myself, Letícia Morango, and Carol. Do you remember Carolina?
Yeah. Ana Carolina. Yeah.
And then we 4 travel, and we stay at the University of Jiu-Jitsu, and we live in a gym for those days. It was an amazing experience, and I felt like, man, I have to come back here. You know, like I remember Letícia Morango stayed, and they there too now. and that's when I started to try to stay. So, but I came back, and I was like really fighting a lot of MMA back then, and I have some opportunities in Brazil, and I just got engaged with my actual wife now. So I want to come back. I didn't want to like cross the line and do anything illegal. But I in that meantime, I was training at Black House, which is an MMA team that Jorge Guimarães used to be the main manager. Like great opportunity to have, like a train with a lot of guys such as Anderson, Belfort, Lioto.
Yeah.
It was a really good place to train. And I was there talking, like I remember Carlão Barreto was one of the managers of the team. And he was there talking to Amaury Bittetti that day. And Amaury Bittetti mentioned him, like his passport, Portuguese. And then when I heard that, I remember my grandfather was Portuguese. So then I asked, like, and my mom had the nationality. I'm like, can I get my passport too? And like, yeah, you just need to, it's a lot of work. But like, look, I'm going to hook you up with my sister. So Amaury Bittetti's sister, his mom is actually the principal consul of Portugal and Brazil. So his sister helped me out with the whole process. And then like I was like working to my passport. In that meantime, it was great. That's how when God works in your life. Like for me, it was meant to be here, meant to be here. Because I was like, I don't like to talk too much about religion. Like my time here in Canada taught me that it's put religion and teach jiu-jitsu. It became something so controversial that in the way that I wanted to like light the God of Jesus in my life is by the actions I do,
Yep.
But I have to mention my faith on that because I was pressed into a period of my time where everything was getting so difficult, and I was in that bifurcation. Is that word actually a word in English? It's like when you're in a road and you can go to left or right.
Like crossroads, yeah. Like
crossroads.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's called bifurcação in Portuguese. Anyways, sometimes I have these crazy things. I try to translate the words, but anyways, so I'm in that point because like look, I want to like have an actual life. Because I was always hustling in Brazil, like for you to be an athlete. And especially me, I was not like a top athlete. You know what I mean? When you're a top athlete, you got some opportunities because you deserve. But like when you were like a medium average athlete, it's like pretty much nothing. And then for you to reach the top, it's become almost impossible. So I was like waking up every day from several years, from 5 a.m. and going to sleep at 11 to train and work and do everything all together. Like I know a lot of people have this life there still. And then I spent the whole night praying because I wanted an opportunity, And then like Saulo called me next day, Saulo Ribeiro, and then he said like, look, I got a guy in Canada who wants a teacher here full time. So right away, I didn't ask anything. I'm like, boom, I'm in. So like this was a Friday night. So then he like, take a look, see how you got a visa, and come and talk to me when you got everything set up. And then like maybe 4 weeks ago, I had started everything with like with Tatiana, which is like Amaury's sister with the Portuguese thing. Man, Monday, I got a phone call from the consulate. I was supposed to go there to like do whatever I want, get my ID, do my passport. It was crazy. I got my passport and it lasted in a week. And then I just jumped in a plane. I went to California, spent like a month there, like teaching and, talking. And like Josh Rapport, which is the Toronto BJJ owner, traveled there. We got to meet. And then here I am.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's quite the story. Okay. So you got to Canada, you met Josh, you ended up at Toronto BJJ. And, one of the things that you kind of touched on really briefly, but was I remember when I first met you, and the scene here in Canada was a bit of a disaster. It was good. Like there was a lot of tough tournaments out there, but it was very disorganized, and there was a lot of people just kind of running events with like mats, crazy, and people didn't even know what the rules were and stuff like that. And I was kind of part of a small group of guys that started, like I'm not going to say started like the OJA or anything, but like the group of people that started that organization of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I was the guy that kind of lobbied to bring you in, because I remember you telling me like, man, I used to run tournaments in Brazil and blah, blah, blah. And I had faith in what you were saying. And then I saw, you know, what you did with your tournaments. You did the Copa Ontario, I believe, and you did a couple other tournaments. And, you know, how did you, you know, work in the tournaments in Brazil, kind of gain the skill of like running a tournament? Because it's a freaking hard thing to do. And number one, so it's a two-part question. How did you learn how to run the tournaments? And then two, what were the major things that you saw that needed to change here as far as the tournament scene here in Canada?
Yeah, so that's a great question, man. It brings me a lot of good memories. You know, when I started training jiu-jitsu, I was always like, you know, a very, very broke kid, you know. So I came from not a tough neighborhood, but my neighborhood is not like a rich by any means. You know, my mother, like we lost my father when I was 8, and then my mom got in a relationship that was, you know, I'll say very abusive. I saw a lot of things that kids don't like to see. My mom attempted suicide with me and my brother when we were kids. Like we starved. I lived by like people favors giving food. My house was like door broke, have like scared to sleep. Anyways, a very tough place. And then jiu-jitsu really got me into something. And then and when like it gave me confidence, like to walk with my chest and my head up. It gave me like a group of people that I consider like family. It gave me role models, like took me to a place of the society that I never stepped into, you know, talk to people with high level education, encourage me to all the things. And then when I start to get into jiu-jitsu, I want to be doing jiu-jitsu 24/7. Everything that was related to jiu-jitsu, I wanted to be in. So that's why, like, I was sitting down in a stands and some, like, I don't remember, some tournament in the Barra da Tijuca. They have like some Atlântico Sul or Copa Axi. I don't remember exactly the one. They need like somebody to be doing like some work there, like which was like carry mats and things like that. The mats back then was so heavy, still heavy today. And we had a good times when we used the puzzle ones, but and then like they call me and then I start to work, and then I just got like a sandwich and a shirt, and that was like priceless for me, because like, man, I can come here to do what I like and I still gain something. I'm like, all right, sign me up for this. Like, you guys can call me anytime, I'm here. And so every time, and from now I start to come really early just to get like some spot to work, even if I'm competing, because then they don't do like we do here now, that to give you the registration for even IBJJF does now. No, not exactly like that, something, but like it was good because you could take the money to like help you in your registration. And I start to work in every single piece of area that you can like imagine in a tournament. This is like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So, and then I have like a very good teachers like in helping me and teaching me how to organize events. Such a like there's a person who in memoriam, and his name is Beto Ferrão. He taught a lot of people from IBJJF. Judson Borges, that today is still working with IBJJF. André Hernandes, which is like one of the IBJJF, like Marcel Siema. So man, I saw like IBJJF like a born like from like a small people organizing tournament to like this big event. And then that gave me confidence back then to like do like a neighborhood event. So me and my friend today is in Australia. He holds an association called Life BJJ, very similar. He was just with Ribeiro, but now he started to work his own thing. Bernardo Fux, Magalhães, Treco. So we started to like to do this Copa Tijuca. So we made like 4 years of the event, and then so I had the skills already, like to do an event. You know, of course today is even easier. It's less complicated, I'll say, because there's a lot of tools and platforms that you can use to help you out. But back then it was quite challenging. But I liked the challenge because I just like jiu-jitsu so much that I just wanted to be there. Like, and for me, when you finish and you see the event happen, and you know that some people there will have their life change that day, to me, it pays me off a lot, you know.
Gotcha.
I feel like, you know, like, because I remember the first time I have my arm raised in a tournament, you know, it was like a transformation. Look, you know, and then like to give that opportunity to other people, like to some guys make their living out of this, and to promote the sport in such a way. And so then when I came here, I saw that you guys were way behind, but like, look, I never, like, maybe I was misunderstood because the way I'm passionate about it, you know, and I didn't have the maturity to understand that people didn't know me. And I wanted people to right away trust me, you know, to start to do things. And then Even Josh like doubt me that I could do something. You got to talk because when I was talking to you, we were talking people in common. Like you start to like, yeah, this guy might know what he's talking about. But even Josh was like, man, like how you tell me that you're gonna run an event with pre-registration with
Yeah.
brackets done a day before? Like I did the first Copa Ontario and the Toronto Jiu Jitsu Classic, the two events we made in the Ryerson University. I did brackets by my hands, one by one,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
200 athletes, which is like not a lot, but like to you do brackets one by one. So, and then with techniques that I learned with Andre, CDM, Judson, all these guys, they taught me like how to do the brackets because I used to be one of the ring coordinators. Like some like from like you don't have no idea what's run as a ring coordination back in 1998 in the Brazilian Nationals, but 1999, 2000s, 2001, like those tournaments like with like tons of people and you're
Yeah.
like 5-6 days in a row. If you run ring coordination well, back then that we didn't have a system and anything that you cannot miss an athlete, that you cannot let the event get late, and you have to follow the schedule. You need to understand how to build the schedule. Anyways, I put that here in practice, and then now we have systems that you click and all the brackets come in, which is
Yeah.
great, and then give estimate time. This is like a dream. But I just wanted to help jiu-jitsu. Why? Because jiu-jitsu, it's my life, and then I didn't want like to live in a place where we didn't have like a good tournament. And then in the other hand, like the tournament for me, it's like here's like the sport. The sport will always like come to a point that there will be the 3% athletes, the top high ones, gonna make a living by just fighting. But there's the other 97% of people, which is like makes to me what makes more sense jiu-jitsu to be amateur,
Mm.
because that people can take advantage of competition. Like when I was telling you that a life can be changed in a competition, I'm going to try like to really summarize what I think. When you go and you start to train jiu-jitsu, okay, God, so how you feel in the first days you walk to the gym, in the first row, it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's very
You know,
nervous. Yeah.
but then like jiu-jitsu is so good, okay, it's so good that right away it will find a way to put you in a comfortable zone because jiu-jitsu is efficient. You learn how like what position works better for you, what's the training partner that gives you a hard time. So it's become very hard to start to step out of the comfortable zone. Sometimes the teacher pushes you here and there, but like people, like the more the time passes, like the less hostile the environment become, the more friendly. So we have friends that go and they like, oh yeah, today I did 8 trainings, but like they're not even almost sweating. It's like,
Yeah.
really, you did 8 like in a row? I'm like, well, it's like they flow, and like that's all good for you to practicing and learn technique, make friends. But this puts you in a plateau, and that's when a lot of people quit.
Yeah.
So when you put people to compete in an amateur level, you're giving them the opportunity sometimes to do a fight. Oh, but there's no striking. Yeah, you're not supposed to strike. You need to go back to work Monday. You're not supposed to get hurt. That's why no heel hooks, no knee bars. And then that discussion keep like coming up, and people don't see, like Carlos Gracie Jr., for example, vision, which is like, look, man, we got to protect the amateur athlete because that person is there for the mental challenge. Because when you're going to compete, my friend, all your demons come out alive. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Even like a high level athletes will tell you this, like everybody feel fear, and you need to learn how to control your emotions. And if you compete like often with that intention, what happened? You can start to drill those emotional control tools. So
Mm.
you can after bring this to your life. So that's what I see, and this is why I have so much passion in promoting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu events. And then if the event is not organized, you don't promote the sport. Imagine like back in the days, come 7 a.m. to register, weigh in, and then you wait what time you're going to compete. So then
Yeah.
what friend wants to be with you in a poor
Yeah.
venue, like a dark, like, man, it's like people have some more fun things to do. But if
Yeah.
they know exactly what time you're going to compete, they're going to be there, they're going to cheer for you, they might get encouraged to come next day and try your academy. They see a good friends and an environment that is friendly, that has some music, that has something that makes you feel like included. It's a pleasure. It's not just like, yeah, let's see who's tough here. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
who's tough here? You pull like a go ADCC, bro. You sit there on the stands and you see who's really tough, because that is the 3%ers.
Yeah.
you know. But the other regular tournaments are not supposed to do this. Of course, there will be 3%ers there in between, which I think is wrong. and which I highly support the AJP idea of like create the professional league.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Sorry if I talk too much, brother.
No. It's all good. It's all good. I think like the thing for me, you know, one of the things that really stood up for me in the beginning was your tournaments. When you first started, I don't know if it was the Toronto Classic or the Copa Ontario, but whichever one, it was the first one you did. It was actually the first tournament in the country that ran on a schedule that was on time. I remember having athletes like almost upset because they're so used to, you know, fighting 3 hours after they're supposed to or so late. Then they were like, oh man, like the schedule said 3 o'clock and it's like 10 after 3 and I'm already fighting. Like I didn't expect this. So it was something really new for the sport here. And, you know, I'm pretty happy that you had the opportunity to come here and kind of contribute to the sport, you know, in Canada. And you have done a lot, you know, through your events there, through your academy. You have one of the largest academy and teams in the country. And, you know, you've contributed with a lot of tournaments. Now you run your next gen tournament across Canada. Where do you feel like, you know, the tournament scene in Canada maybe we're at right now compared to some of the more international tournaments? Because you do compete still, or I know, you know, quite so often, not as much anymore, but you were still pretty active throughout the years. And I know you're at a lot of the tournaments. So where do you think we're at? You know, maybe not talking about yours specifically, but what are the things that Canada needs to do, or the Canadian scene, in your opinion, needs to do to improve, to kind of catch up to the next level, or the level of the maybe the other international competitions?
Okay. Yeah, let me elaborate this. You know, first I want to come back a little bit to the past when I get here, and I just wanted to mention that I felt that you guys did a great job because you guys took initiative. You know what I mean? It was like a lot of places. I know I heard from my friends that go live in other places that there's nothing, that people actually don't put their hands on the work. So I got like Tony Isaacs, needs to be mentioned. You know, he put in the work, you know.
Yeah.
And then it comes like Fernando Zulik. He put in the work. Like, there were you. And then, like, you know what I mean? Like, you guys put on the work which was necessary to create a field. So then I came and I messed everything around, but it was good because it brought everybody up, because everybody like, damn, this guy put a schedule, damn, this guy do this. So how we, and then, you know, how the competition brought everything up. It was a good fire up. And what I feel here, man, is still like some question that I'm trying to answer. You know, it's very hard to give an answer right now because we are just in the mix. We are really trying. I'm trying like next gen attempt to network and to bring like more events to other like provinces, other cities. I feel like Ontario is, with all respect to like BC scene, Alberta scene, you know, Regina, like we are far away. We are so far away ahead. Like Ontario has like the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition scene. I'm not talking that we have the best athletes. But like I'm like Montreal, unfortunately, still like Quebec is still like dealing with the political issues, which it was a potential competitor with Ontario. I mean, like they have good scene there, great instructors, a lot of good athletes, but it's kind of like unfair, like how much tournaments we run here, and then you go in BC, and BC is still like a wild west. You know, like people, I went there, I got boycotts, and then I have to like to work all the political side just to do like I was like 5 years doing tournament in the same dates, and then like you know, IBJJF, like they put a tournament then that was in December there, and it was a big misunderstanding, and we had to talk and change. So I changed my event. The event I was trying to bring was the AJP. You understand? I was not trying to bring, because I was putting the next gen there to lay down the work to then I bring or AJP or IBJJF, whatever the big bosses tell me. You're good to go. You know, I go to IBJJF, hey guys, look, we have like a now potential to do events in BC. They're like, no, not yet. I go to, you know, you met me there. We're there in Abu Dhabi. I was talking, man, I'm really lobbying them to try to bring events to BC. It's one more event. So some people that maybe the general population that just compete local, that just like the amateur athletes, sometimes they don't see how valuable this is for the whole entire community to bring like an event as as Abu Dhabi to the city, like IBJJF, because that will maybe bring interest to athletes come and travel to our cities to compete, which is going to generate a lot of things, like maybe seminars for a gym. They're going to retain students to a gym, make a gym grow, because some affiliate guy will come to compete, and then you host a seminar. Let's say Aliança guys, they can do that too. Like guys here in Brazil now, they have like the Cicero Costa guys, you Pura guys can bring the Atos guys, because there's a tournament coming. And because for them it's interesting, they come, they compete, they do, and like there's so much options, like the all the promoters learn how to make better events, piggyback, because I like when I promote those events, I ask everybody to work with me.
Yeah.
I want the whole community. I don't make a monopoly, just the Toronto BJJ. Before it was because people didn't want to give me a chance.
Yeah.
I was always like, oh, you asking people, oh, no, I can't. It's like, now people understand. It's like, I want to contribute, and because like if jiu-jitsu grow, I grow. It's like the gym is big, my association is big, but I want like reach like the highest we can. Like we want like people to start to look to us, and like I'm telling you straight up here, like my goals as jiu-jitsu promoter is to one day to be able to host in Canada a Grand Slam, an Abu Dhabi Grand Slam, or and have like an IBJJF nationals or a Pan American here in Canada. And I think we have everything to have this here, but we still need to put some work and to get more network, more like a unity of all the people who promote, but we are moving on. We're moving on.
Yeah, I think that from where we were to where we are, it's huge leaps and bounds.
Huge, yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't always change people's minds and how they want to hold on to certain things or their areas or their territories or whatever. That's always going to exist. I think the only thing that you could do is just continue to put the hard work, try your best, and then the proof will be in the pudding. At the end of the day, I agree with you. Like, speaking in terms of Canada, I always feel like the hostility that I would get by helping other event promoters come into Canada was the thing that was kind of detrimental to the growth of the Canadian scene. And I don't understand why. I mean, let's be honest, it's financially driven, which is fair, which is fine. Yeah. But at the end of the day, that's not for the true benefit of the sport, because, if you have AJP coming here, if you have IBJJF, if you have, I remember back in the day, Grappler's Quest, they would get boycott. And, at the end of the Grappler's Quest, it wasn't the best tournament, but at that time, it was huge. That
visibility.
Was exactly, like you got visibility, you got videos, and then the community were kind of like, I don't want to do it. It's boycott, blah, blah, blah. And that's the shame. I think that's the one thing we got to fix. And I don't know what the solution is, but anyways,
I'm just going to finish this. Like,
go for it.
I came up with the name Next Generation because I got it. I don't want to change anybody's mind.
You can't.
To me, I'm not going to say they right or wrong. I'm not going to be here to judge anybody. I just want to move on. So, next generation, like the next generation will understand what we want to do, and to me, I like to say that I don't mind what the sprinters are doing. I'm a long runner. I'm here for the long run. I'm not going to stop. And if my tournaments, like, it go like small this time, it will be big next time or not, but I'm going to keep doing it, no matter what, because that's what I like to do. Ultimately, I like to do like this kind of thing, so. But we're doing great. We're gonna get there. At some point, the breakthrough gonna happen, and people are gonna, and that's gonna be beneficial to everybody.
Absolutely. So it's June 28th, I believe. I've been having a lot of guests from Brazil, United Kingdom, United States, and I usually ask them a little bit of how they've been dealing with the COVID-19 and the coronavirus. What have you been doing as far as maybe communicating with your students? Are you doing the Zoom classes? What have you been doing during this period of the coronavirus, as I like to call it? Because it's the thing with you that I respect is you always try to find new ways to continue working. So I'm interested to hear what you've been doing, how you've been dealing with it, number one, and also where maybe you can give an update, because I honestly don't know what's going on in the Canadian scene as far as, are we allowed to open? Or what's the latest thing you've heard as far as gyms opening? Because everyone in the States, I'm talking to people in Florida, they're training full-time. Texas, they're training full-time. And then we have less people with corona or COVID-19 here in Canada than the US, but then they're allowed to train and we're not. So it makes no sense to me. So give me an update on that, George Brito.
I'm trying to follow up the situation all over the place. You know, in the first weeks of the whole thing, you know, it was very tough for me because I made the retirement MMA fight. I lost, and I was dealing with the pain of losing. Like, you can be the most mature athlete, but like nobody likes to lose, you know. Like, you can accept the loss, and I like, to me, I have like a relationship that I don't even respect my losses anymore. But it still hurts, and then I have like a body damage to be healing, and then I have a tournament to organize a week after the event, and then my event got suspended, and like it was a big project. We working so hard for the next gen to take off, and this event was nearly sold out. 700 students. We were like 700 like competitors, and we were like about to put like a bouncy castle for kids. It would have been like an amazing day.
Why did it get suspended? Sorry to interrupt you.
Because it was March 13, March 15.
Oh, okay, because
It
it was
was
in the
right when
right at
everything
the
started.
tip. Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
we decided, like we decided way before the lockdowns. Like, I think like on the March something, I call my like all the partners of the event, and then I say like, guys, NBA just they shut down their operations. That make no sense to event like us to do something. We got to stop. And then we closed the gym before the lockdown here too. The Toronto BJJ was closed before everything. It was a decision made with me and Josh. And because like in the most optimistic view, like pessimistic, you didn't see what's coming. Like, this is a completely new situation. So then like it was very hard for me to deal with this in the first weeks. I got really like as you was just saying, you mentioned perfectly, I was trying to find ways to, but then I realized one thing. It's like, man, like I like, to me, like, honestly, I respect everybody that's doing like and try to provide service for their students, the Zoom class. But I have something that's like, I cannot do something I don't believe it.
Okay.
It's like when people go to train at the academy, like, I don't teach jiu-jitsu to people to like be just there having fun, making exercise. I teach people how to fight and become tough and kill their demons. And that's, to me, only through like not an old school way, because we have a system that progressively take people to a place that they can decide whatever they want to be, a world champion or just a black belt. But it's like fighting, you know. We teach people how to fight. And then, to me, I'm like, I have a physical degree, physical education degree, university degree. I could like I'm gymnastica natural, like certified representative in Canada. But I just decided to step back and just like say like, look, I was doing one Zoom class to the kids class that I teach, because I truly miss my little guys so much that I have to see them. And I gave them like now the summer break, but that was it, you know. And I share some messages, some things that I decided to like to try like to, because I'm always so busy. And then I just realized that like I have like a 2-year-old daughter, I have like a 7-year-old boy. So then I have to homeschool him here. I decided to be like, you know what, I'm gonna be full-time daddy. I'm gonna be full-time here hands. Of course, jiu-jitsu never get out of me. I create like a ridiculous, crazy routine of training and mental preparation. I read more books than I ever read in a short period of time. I read like 11 books. I'm about to finish the 11th and go to the 12th. And like waking up super early, doing like cold showers, like a tough routine of exercise. I'm in a great shape. And you know, I brought like a kettlebells home, like everything's so disciplined, my food, and I decided to be more like into me and listen to myself, my feelings, and plan the future. So now I'm working a lot on redesign, like my instructor scores that I do for like people from association. So I got like an update here and there. I heard that the PSO, like for the ones who don't know, provincial sports organization, is something that allows like organizations in Canada and in the provinces to run like their programs, and there's something going on that the gyms can be open, but there's so many restrictions. They're pretty much Zoom classes live. And you know, which I think like whoever has to open. I don't know how we at Toronto BJJ are gonna do this. Me and Josh, we're still like discussing, and we having a meeting tomorrow to get some stuff. We're probably gonna open because you need to follow the protocols. But like, I don't really want to push for this new normal. Like, what's the new normal? We don't roll anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like you just roll with a buddy forever. It's like we have to. Sometimes it's a very political battle where we don't have anybody in place to represent us. If we like, I think we have to think about this. There's nobody in government level that can represent us. Even like we are like attached with OGA, it's like we have no voice there, you know.
Mm.
And we have to wait a little bit to see how this is going to define. We need to be very patient, and just wait to see how things gonna like unfold more, because it's way too early to have any definition. Our country is so close to America, but it runs different. You know, we
Yeah.
have to accept that, because we are on the internet and then we see our friends like just down the border doing their thing, competing. Maybe competition is going to start to, like I heard the AJP Miami is going to happen, and we here are going to be like, what's going to happen for us? And I understand a lot of businesses are being like destroyed because of that. But you know, now when Jiu-Jitsu for Life, when I say Jiu-Jitsu for Life, I'm not talking about my association. I'm talking like the philosophy of Jiu-Jitsu has to come in place. You know, now is about to survive. How many times you got the guy pass your guard, the guy come all over you, and it's about don't tap right now. Like we all from the community here, it's all about we don't tap. We need to find ways to survive. And sometimes survive is tapping a set that you tap. If your business is going broke, you're going to destroy your financial life because it, close the doors. But you can always come back. If you really love Jiu-Jitsu, if you really wanted to do this part of your life and you want to accomplish your mission, which is teach people and change your community, you will be back. You will be back. I tell this to the guys. They're part of the affiliation, and I'm letting they make their decisions by themselves. Some people are going to open this because it's different. You know, like our academy, for example, it's a population of, let's say, high 500s to low 700s, you know, people. So how can you make classes let the government allow you only like 8 people in the building? Like you're going to be the whole 24 hours to serve your people. So how are you going to do this? You know, so then other people has like 30 students. They just start. So for them makes sense, and for us doesn't make sense. So then it's about like everybody try to find what will serve them and their people, you know, and patience.
Yeah, it's really tricky. You know, I'm not one of these guys that like, you know, gets into the whole political or into the conspiracy theories. That's the tough pill for me to swallow is I only know one person that died from corona, you know, from COVID. You know, my brother-in-law works in the hospital in Brazil. He gets tested. He never got anything. He says that, you know, some of the numbers are exaggerated. I don't want to get into that. And then the other thing that kind of, you know, it's like, I don't know anyone from jiu-jitsu that's passed away.
No,
Not here
not a
and nowhere
friend,
else
not
in
a
the world.
father, not a mother.
No, but I know people that have gotten sick. I know, like I did an interview with Hodger Gracie. Hodger,
Yeah,
he
he
told
got
me
it.
he got it, but he went through a week or two. He didn't go have to go to the hospital and all these things. Obviously, he's in good shape, but like I don't know anyone that's died that's doing like did it that got it from jiu-jitsu and then died. That's the tough part for me, and it is what it is. I can have my own thought about this. It's not going to change anything, but you know, I
You
think
know,
yeah.
it's so hard because we keep like the logic, the reason, and then come people with scientific things, and ever like to me is like one of the great things I did was like to really like make so less time on this here, and then I told you. It's like I always like keep like every Sunday when it comes like saying like, oh, you down 20% this week. I'm like, yes, you know, 11, you know, because like you go like now like I don't want to get in debate with friends,
Yeah.
like friends that now like want to go over science, and science that want to go over like people like common sense, because there's science and there's common sense too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like right here we see a lot of like political scheme on the actions of like our government, such a like you know, they don't want to expose themselves so much, then how bad they're treating the long-term care houses for long years, and they got exposed right now, but they want to cover up everything with the whole noise and make
Yeah.
everybody thinks that COVID is being like guilty for so many deaths. But like at the end of the day, they did not work diligent with people they're supposed to be carrying anyways, and they're not doing, and come something and make them look bad. You know, all this kind of stuff they're coming up like, you know, and then comes like protests because Black Lives Matter. Yes, Black Lives Matter. People go to protest and no complaints about. But if we go to the beach, people complain about it. It's like
Yeah.
there is no more of like a a common sense. It
Yeah.
became like a hysteria, a chaos. But in here, you understand, because when we go outside, life is normal.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
You know,
the,
I see people. I'm like here in my neighborhood, like people. There's groups and people talk and people, so. But like you go outside, like there's maybe 5% of people wearing masks.
Mm.
But like you go and they're like, well, wait a second. So then there's a dude that talk about this and that, but then he just show up and like taking a selfie and making a live in something, and you're like, wait a second. It's like our culture right now needs jujitsu, man.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
feel like, because people are just getting way too over, like the freedom of speech. It's losing, like the political correctness is losing their boundaries. It's crossing what they're supposed to done for the humanity. But as you say, what we like, our thoughts won't change anything. It's like, that's what I said, we need somebody to represent us in a bigger level, and we don't
Yeah.
have. So that's very hard for make our voice heard. So we're gonna be here, keep like crying out for the walls, because like at the end of the day, like nobody cares about jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
other than the jiu-jitsu people. You know what I mean? We're still tiny on this whole world. Like our sport, our martial art, like it's great, it's amazing, change life, but we still have to get more people in, and we need like more people representing us out there.
We need
That's what.
we're gonna have to wait for more celebrities to start training to really say that they need jujitsu for people to wake up. And talking about the hysteria, I really think that everyone's worried about getting sick, and I think it's just the social media that's making everyone sick more than anything. Like I've been at the beach with my family the last 3 weekends. You see like one person wearing the mask. Nothing's changed. You know what I mean? And it doesn't make sense to me. But anyways, back to the jiu-jitsu talk. I wanted to talk a little bit about your academy, Toronto BJJ. You've grown that, since you came, much like the tournament scene, you were able to help contribute to the tournament scene. You took an academy that people knew about, but it wasn't really huge at the time, and you kind of turned things around. What's been kind of the secret of your success for the academy? Because I'm on the outside looking in, I know that you come from, a very like, I wouldn't say it's what people would say like the modern jiu-jitsu school. Gracie Mai Tai is like a traditional jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
school, self-defense, very hard-nosed, aggressive jiu-jitsu, but it's a strong, effective, and efficient jiu-jitsu. So what's your take on the jiu-jitsu scene right now, and like how you feel people should be teaching jiu-jitsu? Because I think from what I see, you're implementing self-defense, I believe, but you also have a really strong sport team. You really have a strong competitive team. I've seen your guys and girls compete all over the world. So how do you teach? Like what's your philosophy on teaching jiu-jitsu, and how do you balance out the sport, the martial art of jiu-jitsu for your academy?
Wow, I love to answer this. I need to be careful to don't talk too much, because I know I talk a lot, and I want
It's
to
all
cover.
good.
I don't want people to get bored. I don't want people to engage and listen what I want to say, because I'm preparing a webinar, on to increase instructors understanding idea and how to build their team, which is something that I'm going to make it open, because like right now I do only for my guys, I do like instructor's course, and I'm not going to do instructor's course, but like the webinar is going to be pretty much talking this. Is like, what happened is that people the other day even post something like strongly related with this, which is like there's kinds of black belts, okay? And then the first thing is like people need to define what they want, and that's not up to the instructor. What happened is like nobody understands like how you serve people with jiu-jitsu. Okay, you just need to jiu-jitsu do the work, and then jiu-jitsu by itself, there's no such a thing as a sport, martial arts, self-defense. Jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu for me, in my point of view, because that's the way I learned at a Gracie Academy in Rio de Janeiro. So when people come to me, it's like, yeah, but the Valentes, but no, they decided to took a niche of what jiu-jitsu is and make that living. Like some people just decide to make the sports side and do it. But like what I see in the philosophy I do is the first thing is like the harder we train, the luckier we get. You know, it's like you got to train. You got to, for me, like if you're on the mats, you got to train. And then I was very fortunate to have like a different styles of teachers, you know. And then I decided way too early to be instructor. And I know now it looks like a very common, but in 1996 that was not common at all. You know, like a 16-year-old said, like, yeah, I want to be a jiu-jitsu instructor. It's like everybody wants to go to university, go to college, get a professional, and jiu-jitsu is a good hobby. But I'd say like, no, this is gonna be my thing. So I spend like pretty much the whole day at the academy, like trying to learn jiu-jitsu and work in tournaments and doing everything I could possibly do to earn more knowledge about like how to help people to understand that thing. And the other thing that I think it makes me very, very fortunate was that I was never good. And I always have to understand from the dumbest point, which is like, with all due respect to everybody who trains jiu-jitsu, we are the 97%ers, guy. There's 3% of people that you actually don't need to teach. For example, let's say like maybe we taught Eric Fan the very beginning foundation of him. Right now, he doesn't need me. He's there because he likes his training partners, he likes the environment. Nathan dos Santos, today I learned from Nathan. You understand? It's like I go to Nate, say, Nate, how I do this crazy beating bull thing? He's like, oh, come here. No, you're doing wrong, George. No. So Michael's and ask, he's like, these guys, I don't teach these guys anymore. They don't need me. You understand? But what people need, it's a comprehensive and a structure to go from 0 to 100, to 0 to 10, like, and know what they're doing. What happened in a lot of times in the jiu-jitsu culture, and now it's getting much better because Fabio Gurgel is putting out content. The Gracie Barra do an incredible job, like with the affiliations. It's like system of training, methodology. A lot of people talk about curriculum. Oh, I have a curriculum. You have a curriculum means nothing. If you don't know how to systemize a curriculum and who get what. It's like you go to a school where you don't know when you're going to be graduated, what you have to learn to be graduated, and how much you need of each thing, and when you need this. It's like,
because a curriculum, like, you know, sorry to interrupt you, but it's like a curriculum can mean a list of techniques.
That's it.
But at the end of the day, the techniques change a lot. So that doesn't mean anything unless you have a real system in place of understanding, as opposed to just a list of techniques.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but
go
that's
ahead.
what people think they have a curriculum. I have a curriculum, and I go and I teach this curriculum the whole year. And this guy, but like how you do when white belts come in the first day, and that day is the day of your quote unquote curriculum that people are on the day 100, 200, 500, 3 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. Third-degree black belts. Like, you can't treat everybody the same because not everybody's the same. So we have like a system that I developed through this time. I was very fortunate to go for and have my university degree in physical education, which in Brazil is a course. I think we have this course in North America too, but it's a little bit split in physiology, kinesiology, and then sports. And then in Brazil is a 4-year full-time course that I did with Letícia Ribeiro. She was responsible to get me into school because she got a sponsorship for herself, and she brought me in with like a ridiculous discount. That was the only reason I made it because I could not afford to pay school. And I'm very thankful for her for that, and many other things that she did for my life. She's like best friend I had in jiu-jitsu with alongside Fabrício Camões Morango. They helped me out so much in many different things, like MMA career. But anyways, back to the thing. So then when I got here, it was like, man, I just got in a dream place because I had a person who was an investor who wanted to grow his business, and then like a place where there's a lot of people who wants to train. So I just like, man. And then, of course, I made like adjustments here and there as I still doing. Like we are about to put like our curriculum 2.0, and the system is going to increment like a one more level and things like that. So then, well, that's what allowed me to grow so much, because here's what people have to understand. When you have like, especially on the business side, like you need to understand what people you want to serve. Like, do you want to serve the 3%ers? Or do you want to, you know, serve the 97%ers? Where you think you're going to be more chances of succeed financially? But like, And then when you think this is like, oh, I want to like go to the 97%, and then they create something that's not real for the 97% because they think these people want an easy path. No, they want to be like the 3%ers because some of them actually gonna get there because they're gonna wake up and discover they are the 3%ers.
Yeah.
You need to give people the real deal. And that's what make a lot of instructors be afraid. Oh, I cannot put this guy to compete because, you know, like at the gym, he got smashed. He got like, bro, I want him to learn like lose the 30 seconds. Like, that's what, like, you notice how many people we put to compete.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
One of the biggest teams for sure.
You know, it's like, because I try like to give these people a re-understanding of what is actually doing to compete. It's part of the program. You need to go through like the adrenaline to the self-awareness to understand jiu-jitsu better, because jiu-jitsu gives you self-awareness only if you put yourself in the high stress situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why like people grow so much until the blue belt, because it's uncomfortable, and then after they got in the plateau and they quit.
Yeah.
But like our rates of retention are high in the academy. And then people are still like crazy trying like, oh, how can I bring more people to my gym? And propaganda here, propaganda there. It's like until like 2 years ago, our website was like still from 2008. You understand? And we keep still bringing people in all the time, every day. So there is a process to people who come first day. How you teach a person their first day class? It cannot be like, you know what, I'm going to show you a Kimura and here's the sweep. It's like, he needs to have a progression because his first class needs to match up with the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got his first strike. Oh, where he put it? He put in the cards. And then people are like, oh, you're going to build a Mac Dojo. I'm like, oh, you're welcome to come to see us. Any person all over the world, any champion can come visit Toronto BJJ and tell me if it's a Mac Dojo. They can come and beat everybody and tap from the first white belt to the last black belt. But they're gonna tell like, definitely this is not a Mac Dojo, you know. And we run a system, and we have a curriculum, and we have a way to treat white belts, a separate class for them, and we have a way to treat the blue, the purple, the brown, you know. And I think like to have that understanding is what brought me like to a point that we could multiply the operations and give like an environment where the instructors could like realize their full potential. So how many guys came to teach at Toronto BJJ and become great instructors? Because the system by itself make them rely on the system, and they just have to go there and like give their best.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need to worry about anything else, you know. So those are the things that we can go deep on this, you know, Ricardo.
Yeah.
So as I told you, I don't want to take too much of the time.
It's all good. It's all good. It was a great answer. One of the things I like to do, one of my guests was Vito Shaolin Ribeiro.
Okay.
And he said a line that I love to use to every guest. And the line that he said was that people learning jiu-jitsu today are learning jiu-jitsu in the worst time ever, because there's too much information out there. You know, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube on their hands. Before they get to the academy, they have this thought about what jiu-jitsu is. And what Shaolin was saying was, you know, too much information is no information. What do you think about, you know, thinking about the student and the way of training and even being an instructor today as compared to the old days? Because it's funny, because I see a lot of stuff today that it's obviously it's better for the academy, it's better for the growth, but you and I both know like certain things would not fly in the academy in Gracie Maitá in Brazil. Like if the instructor said, hey, you got to go fight, like real fight that guy, you had to go. You couldn't go ask and tell him how your feelings were. You know what I mean? Like the times have definitely changed in jiu-jitsu. What do you think about that whole like, you know, technology generation and just like the generational differences in jiu-jitsu between when you were training and how it is today, like good or bad?
I think I think Shaolin, like what you mentioned about Shaolin times, like, yeah, it is very bad. You know, there's a good, you know, because people can access more information. Teachers like myself, for example, I tell them, my students, like, man, like all these modern techniques I got from like Instagram videos, from YouTube. It's like, I have no shame to say like, yeah, I learned from YouTube. So where the heck I can train with Leandro Lo? Where the heck I can like learn something from like, you know, Fabio Gugel? It's like, I cannot get a plane every time to learn from these guys. I got my phone back. But I like to emphasize then from the start, and then I train my instructors to have those speeches like almost every day, dude, you need to understand the ABCs. I like one time I even wrote this for Gracie Mag, which is like the person need to be very conscious of what they need to learn in order to like fly, to reach the sky, you know. Watch YouTube and enjoy YouTube and take the best out of like their subscriptions on the Mendes brothers, you know what I mean, on their subscription on whatever is the Galvão, the things. No, you have to understand first the basics of jiu-jitsu, the foundation. If you have the foundation, you're gonna learn from YouTube, you're gonna learn from anything. But here's the thing, there's lack of explanation. And then for me, like the thing that I have to, like the challenge with my instructors and with the other instructors, which like it's like some of my goals, like we need to be more verbal. Jiu-jitsu is not just show a position. You need to explain people, look, if you don't get this now, don't worry, you get next time, or next or next. And I use like examples of myself a lot, which like make people see that I'm not lying. It's like I'm not a great competitor, I'm not a like amazing jiu-jitsu player, but I have some jiu-jitsu and I have a lot of fun with. And I know, and some things, they take a long time for you to click it. You can watch it, you comprehend, you can drill it, you can even do it, but to execute in real time in life, it takes a long time. And then you have to explain this to people because they need to hear from you. But what happens a lot of times when you step on a spot as instructor, you feel so insecure to be vulnerable that you don't understand that they need to listen that. You know, like and then your student lose the motivation, because like what is a competition for jiu-jitsu? It's like a CrossFit, like a workout, running, that they go do something that will motivate them, that they will see progress. So it's all about, we understand how we tell them the progression in jiu-jitsu is not like in the phone, instant gratification. In the phone, so if I Google here whatever information I want, I have it, you know. And that's what, like Shaolin, like I mentioned, that's important. It's like, but we who know this, we need to like to be pointing this out to people. And sometimes it will make some of your students don't give you that smile because they don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But we need to understand that in order that they have what they want, they first need to get what they need. You know, but we cannot go like right in their face, say like, this is what you need.
Yeah,
because people first, like they want to hear, they want to get what they want.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because like you'll get a student that's like, "Hey, I saw Keenan do this cool thing with the lapel," and and you're like, "You don't know how to escape mount. You can't, you can't even do a hip escape right. You can't even do like a scissor sweep right." And you shouldn't worry about squid guard just yet. It's cool and it's great and it works and it's effective and it's efficient, but it's not what you need right now. And sometimes I know even as a coach and instructor myself, sometimes I feel bad having that conversation because you look at their face and it looks like you've just torn them down. It's like, yeah, you broke their heart almost, but it's tough love. You got to.
Some of them, they're gonna try like to prove you wrong, and they're gonna keep trying. Like eventually they got it, and you're like, nice, great. But here's the deal: that's not the rule. That's the section. Like and I try like to really pre-frame everybody, and then but the work become better when you do this from the white belt. Because you really make them feel like I've been listening this for a whole time, and they see their progression too. Like I don't refrain ourselves to teach any of the modern techniques. We teach them all, but they're in a specific class for that, and in that class is explained that like, look, this technique is meant to competition. It's meant for this. It's like if you don't understand spider guard, there's no way you're gonna understand worm guard. Like simple examples like that. So then you reveal one, like if you have in the program, and people will successfully understand the technique, and because you're going to put them in the program to compete, they're going to be self-aware to understand what they're game or not. Because the worst thing is that guy who like watch a video and see like, oh, look, everybody's sweeping with this technique. I'm supposed to do that too. Like, bro, your game is maybe something that you didn't even discover yet because you didn't give yourself a chance to find your own jiu-jitsu because you were trying like to copy someone else. So that's when like all the philosophical part comes in place, and we have to be very emphatic on this. It's like say, bro, jiu-jitsu is about being authentic. You can't be trying to be other person. You can like get people and mold their model their success, you know, and be inspired by them. But if you try to copy them, you will fail. I tell this every time, almost every interview I go. You know, I think like what jiu-jitsu gave me that really helped me a lot and really make me feel like so good at jiu-jitsu that I can be myself. You know, I don't need to try to pretend, you know, and that's something that helped me a lot in Toronto because I came from another country and I never try to play, I'm that champion from Brazil that came here. I'm like, bro, I'm a tough dude, bro. I'm going to fight you. We're going to fight hard and maybe I'm going to win, maybe I'm going to lose, but I'll be back next time. And it is what it is, you know, and that's me. But some people are the greatest champions. Some people, you can't define yourself, you know, by finding who you are. And I think jiu-jitsu has the ability through the practice to do this. Some people find in other things, but like I think jiu-jitsu is a great tool and a great vehicle to find that, you know.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think, you know, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. You know, I used to, as a kid, try to like, you know, emulate some of the guys like Margarita and Leo. And, you know, and even I still do some of the stuff and there's nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, I'm my own person and I got to find the game that works for me. And, you know,
we all do.
I don't have Bushesh's body type. I keep doing his moves, but not too many people do. But you know what, George? I want to say thank you so much. We just passed an hour. Usually that's the time that I gotta log it off. And I learned a lot from you. And you know, there's a lot of things that I didn't know about you. You know, we've known each other a long time. This is a conversation I think maybe we should have had over a coffee or even an acai, you know, in Toronto, and maybe when everything's back to normal, we can do that.
You want me a visit in the gym? I know. You there, man.
I've been there. I've been there. Yeah, but it's
not in my time.
I know it's true. It's true. So listen, you know, I want to thank you so much for your time. If there's anything you want to plug or, you know, say hi to anyone or let anyone know, you know, take your time before we log off here.
I mean, I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate that. I know, like, you know, like that means a lot for me, you know, to have any recognition, not because my ego, you know, I love that, but it's just because I have a truly passion on teaching jiu-jitsu. And then when I'm able to express a little bit of my ideas that I truly believe they work, and then, you know, I got so pumped. And just, you know, a shout out to everybody who is out there. It's like, if you ever get in any trouble in jiu-jitsu, it just keep pounding, man. It's just like, you know, it's just don't give up. So, you know, that old saying is the most amazing thing. A black belt, a white belt, a black belt's a white belt who never quits. Like, you know, if we have that philosophy, never quit, just come back, just come back, just come back. You know, you build conscious, you just become a better human, and that's what jiu-jitsu is all about. I'm very thankful for all my teachers and everybody. So thank you.
Nice.
All gratitude.
That's it. All right, guys. Well, once again, thank you, Jorge Britto. If you guys are ever in Toronto, hopefully after the coronavirus is all done, I highly recommend go checking out Toronto BJJ. It's one of the premier academies in Toronto. Go say hello to George. And you can check them out on Instagram and all that other stuff too. And that's about it, guys. I really appreciate your time once again, George. Everyone out there, stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you guys when the coronavirus is done. But before then, I'll see you next week on the next Riccardo Balea BJJ podcast. See you later, guys.
Peace.